Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So this has just kind of been an interesting week. That's why I haven't had as many videos posted. So I've been looking around for a different apartment. I just kind of wanted to move out of the complex I'm in, move to the other end of town. There's some things that make it a little better over there. And somebody messed up in the application process as they moved people around. And rather than being a January apartment takeover like it was supposed to be, they decided to put it in for October or whatever. And so yeah, this week I just kind of got up and with really no notice had to move pretty much everything. So actually what you're kind of seeing is the only place that really hasn't been touched that much, and that's my office, because I've had to maintain some regular work because I didn't have to plan to move this week. But if I move around, you know, oh, there's where all my bookcases and whatever were, and all that kind of stuff. So kind of transitionary period. So ordinarily I would have another tinfoil hat time up by now, but I didn't because, well, first my set's completely gone. I'm rebuilding it over there in the new place, and just kind of the unexpectedness of having to move. But you know, the most important thing is to make sure I'm getting the work done that I need to get done in the middle of everything as well. So I did want to jump up with just a quick couple things in the middle of everything else I was doing, and I want to talk a little bit about corporate misbehavior today. And so what kind of inspired this is two different big companies that really should know better have been a little irritating me this week. Now, we know that we got the fight with the scammers and the spammers, and that's its own story. But, you know, those people are kind of, you don't know who they are on the other end of the phone or on the other end of the email. They're fly-by-night guys, they're bot guys, and maybe they are well-established, but they're not established by big name. But I've had big issues with two different companies. One of those is Amazon, and one of those was Staples. So the problem is, I had updated in preparation for doing some local business stuff. I had wanted to get some more business cards made, and my color printer's kind of dead. And so I was looking at the various different locations for where I can get some business cards printed out and things. I usually just print everything in Office because it's just always got better quality. And what I did is I went out and I looked at a couple different people, different places, and what I wanted to do is just get some good business cards printed. So covering up the private data here that I use. So these are kind of my basic cards, and this is actually done in my office on just on the printers in my office. It's a nice glossy paper. It's actually kind of thick. And then what I had done, the problem I'm getting on these is, and these are professionally done. I'm not sure if you can see it, but if you look at it closely, the ink bleeds. And these are effectively professionally done cards. And they're also way, way thinner. About half the thickness as the other cards. So not very good quality. I'm not going to throw them away. I'm not going to take them back. They're not that bad, but I'm not going to get them done there again. The problem that I had isn't the cards. I could have done a little bit more quality control, testing those, looking at those before I actually authorized the purchase order. But the misbehavior part is they took the information that's on the business card, which was intended for handing out to local business people. And obviously, it's not going to stay super private and super secure. Duh, it's a business card. It's meant to be given out. But I have specific addresses, specific phone numbers for various types of account purposes, for shipping and receiving, for receivables, for all that kind of stuff. I have specific information. And what the guy did at the Staples Copy Center is he took the information that was on the card, and he, without any authorization, without any consent, without even any statement, he put all that stuff into Staples marketing crap. And then I started getting not only stuff from Staples that was inappropriate on this address, but also things from third-party person that I definitely never had agreed with. So I went into the store and I was nice about it. when I went into the store to say to the store manager, hey, this is what the person did, and I need that stuff removed from the database, all this. And I get this woman, I'm the store manager. We can't do anything. We just do what corporate does. Corporate. And I'm like, you know what? If that's your attitude, I'm done with Staples. If I cannot walk into my local store and get something simple taken care of that should have never happened at all, so then I try and call the phone numbers, routing all over the place. I finally call back, and if you want to get somebody who can help, like Verizon Wireless has what they call the executive customer support. If you just call customer support, you get, some honky guy that gets paid minimum wage. If you really know how to get in there, you can get onto the executive customer support, where there's actual human beings with brain cells that actually rub together, and you can actually get things done. Well, just an FYI, if you are doing that, I should have grabbed my Staples stuff. I might have actually thrown it away. If you want to get into the Staples, you need to call the corporate line, and you need to ask for the office of the president, which sounds quite exciting. But you call the office of the president, and you will get real human beings that really respond. And so with that, I had talked to them. They did actually seem to successfully remove my information from the Staples database, but now all these third parties have it. And so as of, I think, a week ago now, and I think it was Thursday maybe it was last Thursday, it's Monday today, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the third parties, I think, still have that information. And what I had said to them, somebody had contacted me back from there and said, hey, we couldn't find your information in the database, so what's going on? I replied back and said, well, I talked to somebody at the office of the president. They probably did successfully do that, but the problem I'm having now is, even after I've made those phone conversations, is now these third parties that I definitely never wanted to give that information out to, they're now getting a hold of me. And so I haven't heard anything back from them on that. So hopefully it's taken care of, but I haven't had any response. Regardless, you know what? The best thing that we can do to keep businesses in line is to walk. Dave Ramsey says we vote with our feet who we are going to do business with. And that means, if you go downtown and a restaurant's really bad and you always get crummy service, you just don't go back. Eventually, the business will either A, change its ways, or B, shut down. Either one, good. Because they're bad service. They're bad quality. And we get to this mindset where these companies now, as a single individual, can I really cause an effect that would cause that on Staples? No, not at all. However, I personally will not use Staples services again. There's too many other places that I can get things from. People have said, well, Vistaprint, or there's some other. I think there's a Kinko's downtown. There's probably some local copy print guys. In fact, I turned down a bid from a local print shop for doing things. Mostly, it was way too expensive, way more expensive than I can do printing them in house. But that's kind of the way of the world, I'm not going to do business with people who do that. And you might say that, some people may say that's petty. I don't think it is petty. I think it is legitimately being a good consumer. When we're saying, okay, I have done XYZ at this business, I've done everything that I can do, they're not willing to help because they're just corporate's fault, whatever. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm simply going to not deal with that. That's the way it is. So at least I haven't taken doing business with Staples completely off the table. But at least for over a year, I will not be back, which is kind of a shame because I wanted to restock on all my inks and a lot of my paper. And I was actually going to buy a new printer from them, a new laser printer. I want a color laser printer in my office, and I was going to buy a new color laser printer. And nope, not going to order it from Staples. Oh well. So I'm done doing business with Staples for a while. I don't care that they've made it right now. The fact of the matter is they should have had training in place that when I walked into the local store with this complaint, the local store manager should have actually taken some initiative. Not said, it's corporate. You need to talk to corporate. Maybe the store manager should have been like, wow, that's horrible. She didn't apologize. We just did what corporate says. Apparently you didn't do what corporate says, because when I called them up, they were appalled. But I'm still not doing business with Staples for at least a year. And the reason I'm going to say, hey, maybe in a year or so I'll revisit the matter, because of how corporate did seem to handle it. I'm a little pleased with how they did that. As for the local store, if I hear that the manager is terminated for horrible customer service, I might go back to the local store. Otherwise, not going to happen. Okay, so the second store that's really been irritating me this week is Amazon. Oh Lord, Amazon. So it's not with Amazon buying and selling something, and I'm definitely not ready to stop doing business with Amazon. But what really has me irked right now is their Seller Central. So one of my clients was doing some things on Amazon and managed to attach my email to one of her stores. Well, I don't have a login for that store, and I don't have any connection with that client at this point in time. But I get regular emails multiple times a week from Amazon Seller Central that their system basically is sending me store notification updates, and I can't do anything about it. Now, there should be a link at the bottom of any email to say, hey, stop these, get these figured out. The link takes you to a login screen. I have to log into Amazon Seller Central to stop the emails, but I don't have an account. What do? Well, I call them. Log into your account, says some third world country guy, because they apparently are too cheap to hire anybody here to handle United States customers. And so basically, I'm not getting any information as to how to get my email off of this account. Their system keeps sending me emails, and all I have encountered is pure incompetence. Pure incompetence. This is the most incompetent group of company I've ever seemed to work with. It's the Amazon Seller Central part. Okay, they have no way for me to get a hold of them by phone, no way to get a hold of them by email unless I create an account. Okay, and I don't have an account. And they've even went on and like, log into your account. I don't have an account. Okay, I verified you have an account. Great, you verified I have an account. How do I stop emails, Amazon? Stop the emails. I'm sick of getting them. I have called. I can't do anything. I've even called, potentially left a message for legal. I think when I look down, I think their legal answering service says leave us a message and then hangs up and doesn't have a place to leave a message. So even their legal's not good. So right now, about the best I can do is write a certified letter, sending it to their corporate headquarters, return receipt requested, and when they keep on failing to remove my name from the email, I might potentially be able to sue them for constantly harassing me on their email because I don't have an account! I do not have a way to stop these emails, Amazon! Stop it! You are misbehaving in a corporate manner. You need to stop. Maybe I will stop doing business with Amazon for a while. I don't know. You know, the thing is that I have another book that's almost published, and Create Space, an Amazon company, right now is the #1 place I'm looking to publish that book. Just because of how much good work that I've heard about what they can do, and the fact that the prices are low enough that I can actually give copies out to an appropriate amount of people for good marketing. Something I couldn't do with my previous book publisher. So I'm kind of at an odds end here with Amazon. Additionally, I do a lot of work with AWS cloud servers, which I think is good as well. But the problem is I need a way to contact Amazon seller support without a login to get them to simply stop sending me emails. Now, probably the easiest thing I can do is I can go into my email system and block their emails. But I should not have to do that. This is a large company. This is a known company. They should have a means for me to remove that email from the system. If anybody knows how I can get in there and contact them and get a real human being with 2 brain cells that rub together, please let me know. Because I am so frustrated with Amazon right now over this matter that I really need to get it resolved. Now, again, maybe I should just block the emails. This is a big enough company, I shouldn't have to do this. I should not have to go to the resorts I do with Amazon as I do with a spammer and a scammer. And by the way, I think that they're violating the ICANN laws. Now, I don't have any solid, I mean, I haven't looked at the ICANN laws in a while, but I should be able to stop receiving emails from them in a reasonable time frame. That's the way it goes. Corporate misbehavior. Corporate misbehavior. That's what we're talking about here. So what I'm finding as a general trend is that companies are becoming less and less responsive to actual customer service. You know, and in reality, a lot of these companies that we see are no more than just a few guys, so they can't necessarily manage the phones. But the problem is when we get to a company where we have no way of contacting them, we have no way of getting a hold of them, the only thing that there is an email support, and that sometimes you get a response back and sometimes you don't. You get so far removed from the entire purpose and the entire system that there is no more customer support. So this happened. One of my clients is insistently, for some stupid reason, I have no idea, using DreamHost. There's no way to get a hold of these people. And then, of course, the basic default is when you contact them, they simply assume they use an SUP error method of solving things. So SUP is stupid user problem. When you contact support for most of these companies, particularly when email is the only way to support, they automatically assume that you as the user is stupid and are not doing what you need to do. And in full reality, you have to fight so deep into these levels, and it's no wonder why people think that irate customers are calling all the time and everyone's so irate. Well, when you cause me to have to go through all this crap just to get you to stop misbehaving or to get something working right, no kidding, I'm a little irate by this point in time. We need to come back to a time of good customer service when we can actually interact with people on an intelligent level when something is not working right. Stop the corporate misbehavior. Stop assuming that because you found an email address, you can throw it into the system. Stop assuming that everyone has access. Stop assuming that somebody else hasn't taken my email address and simply inserted it into your system and I have no way around it. Suppose that I just go on and I grab some random guy's email address that I happen to have laying around and I sign him up on an Amazon account. He can't log into the system. Now he's perpetually receiving emails. What does he do? Well, that's the situation I'm finding myself with Amazon. Make it stop. I have nothing else to say. Oh, I'm just so frustrated with some of these companies right now. Have good customer service. That's what brings you out. Yeah, and you know, I use Verizon for my cell phone, and it's not the best, the best of every worlds. You know, there's a couple big carriers, but the reason I've stuck with Verizon for so long is they have very, very, very good customer support. They've always have. The reason I'm going to be changing all my business servers, it is on my list to do in the next couple of months. I'm going to be changing all my business servers because when I bought my business servers at the company that I'm using for contracting out servers, it had fabulous customer support. Now, it could go weeks before you get something resolved. You could go months before you get something resolved. Their customer support is so bad. Now that's in part because the big company EIG took over the hosting company, and the first thing they do is they lay off the entire support team and use their own horrible support system with, you know, understaffed people. I think the only positive is I think they actually hire here in the US for US-based companies. I'm not completely sure about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. I generally am not finding myself on third world country support. If I have to call them, of course I never really get to call them much anymore because you're on hold for 2.5 hours before someone picks up, and then you have an incompetent fool on the other end of the line. You know, and if I call up my hosting company, it means that there's something in there that I need you to resolve. I don't need to be sitting on hold for 2.5 hours for you to assume I don't know what I'm doing because I happen to be a professional in the field. I usually just encounter some problem that I simply don't have root permissions to do. And this is what needs to be done, please do it. Well, I used to get those things taken care of in literally 5 minutes. And it's so painful for me, but that's one of the things that GoDaddy's got really good at in the last couple of years is their customer service went from horrible to really good. Shocking. The servers still aren't very good, but, you know, whatever else. Oh, corporations need to stop misbehaving. It's one thing that we have misbehavior out of scammers and spammers. But when we have the big companies that we interact with on a regular basis, we need to have the ability to hold them to a higher standard and have good customer support. That's what's going to cause a system to work. So with that, this is Tom, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.